Just want to say good morning to everyone and welcome to another powerful episode of the Together We Rise Building Our Nation podcast. And this morning, I just want to say we just want to dive into one of the most important topic that people been asking me about. And it's all about land and property acquisition. So whether you are in the America, Germany, England, you're Jamaican, local or foreign, this episode is for you. But I could not have done this without asking one of the most knowledgeable person about real estate in Jamaica who has a good understanding of the law, the rules, the regulation governing properties. A friend of mine, Mr. Wayne Mitchell, who hails from the beautiful parish of Portland, you know, but our history began over there at the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. And if I don't get it wrong, this man went to school in St. Elizabeth. He went to school, that's back to college in Portland. Then the man moved, lived in Manchester, worked across Jamaica. Mr. Wayne Mitchell, we just want to welcome you to the Together We Rise Building Our Nation show. How are you doing, my brother?
Well, I'm fine, and I thank you for inviting me. And I also want to say good morning to your audience, and I'm very happy to be here. I think you're a bit generous in your introduction, but I'll take it.
You know, I was going to leave it up to you, Mr. Mitchell, to really give the people a quick overview, because I can tell the people that your resume is a long one. And, if I was to tell of your history and your background, I would not be able to shed much light on it. So this morning, what I want to do first is just to allow you to just give an overview of who is Wayne Mitchell, and take us back to where you're from, your schooling, and how did you get to where you are now as being one of Jamaica top realtor, doing excellent in the business.
Well, Ian, I think you need a longer show for me to tell you all about mine. But I will be short, just a summary. Well, as you already said, I hail from the beautiful parish of Portland, right? As Jamaican, we have a mention our high school. I used to attend Tishfield High School. Good. So, at Tishfield, to be you know me in agriculture, but at Tishfield we didn't know about agriculture until a past student from Ealing come to Tishfield and introduce me to agriculture, tell me about board and so forth. So I just went all the way to Saint Elizabeth. You know the distance very far. So I traveled all the way to Saint Elizabeth when I was in high school to look at Elim, and I asked them about the entry exam, and I took it and I passed, and that's how I started off at Elim Agricultural School. As you know, after that, I returned to Portland to Case, where I continued my agricultural studies. I finished agriculture studies and I went to England, did some teaching up there. Then I returned to Jamaica because in England, as you know, Ian, I'm an outside person. I love the open environment. I love the land. So I couldn't stay. I returned back to Jamaica and tried to get a work, something to do with property, something that I could be out in the field. Good. Do quite a few works with the government, doing agricultural work until one day, Ian, believe me, Clement Morris, one of our best friends at college. He was with the National Land Agency, and he invited me one day to his work. And Ian, based on his knowledge and how he interact with people, his knowledge about properties, and just be out there in the field showing people around. Really, I said, this is what I want to do. So I talked to Clement, and Clement told me that there's a vacancy So I applied. I got through to be the lands officer for St. Catherine. Good. This was like my calling here. This was like my call.
Okay.
Yes. So I performed so well as the lands officer from for St. Catherine until my director at the time, I'm not gonna call any name. There was an opening in Manchester to be the parish lands officer. And he sent me down there and I became a parish lands officer as a supervisor. And then that's where my career started, land. Or good. I was with the National Land Agency. You know the National Land Agency, good. I can put a disclaimer here. I'm not a lawyer, but being the lands officer for Manchester and St. Elizabeth, you see, as a lands officer, you do everything to do with properties, from squatter management, everything to do with divestment, from leasing of lands, sales of lands and other properties, not just land. But I love to use the word land because even if there's a building on the property, it is governed by the Register of Titles Act, which is your land title. Good is either unimproved land or improved land. Good. So with building, it is improved land. Without building, it is unimproved land. So it's all about land. Good. So there, I was with the National Land Agency for 13 years until
Wow.
a supervisor from the bauxite company, I'm not gonna call the name again, but one of the most popular bauxite company in central Jamaica, supervisor came to my office to seek information. And by listening to me and to how he was satisfied, he said, Mitchell, would you like to work with us? And I
Wow.
and I said, I'm going to think about it because I love the National Land Agency. Everything to do with properties have to come through the National Land Agency. That's a government agency for land. Good. So I think about it. You know, they offer some dough on the table, some, you know what I'm talking, some higher, some more money and stuff like that. So I think about it with the family and I decided to go to that backside company and work for them. After 13 years with National Land Agency, I spent about 2 to 3 years with that bauxite company, assisting them to acquire land for mining purposes. You know the bauxite company. Once they need land for mining, they're gonna get it. It doesn't matter the history and the complication. They are some of the best lawyers, so they're gonna do everything to get that property regularized, get it started out legally, so that it can transfer to them. So I was one of the person on the battlefield trying to find land and acquire land for the Bastard company. I do it for 3 years until I move on to real estate now. And this is my, maybe not my last stop, but that's where I am now, trying to sell properties.
All
Good.
right, Mr. Mitchell, that's quite an overview. So, guys, you see why I could not have done justice with his resume here. You know, he is a quite man of integrity. You know, somebody who I respect from college days because that's where our relationship, our friendship began, you know, over there at Case. You know, people may know it at Pasley Garden, you know, COA, in a JSA. It's the same agricultural school. So I just want to say something here. When, you know, I actually was about to acquire a piece of land from my family, you know, family member. So guys, just be careful. And I went up to Mandeville. They say, you need to go to the land agency. You know, I knew after college, Wayne went off to England, as he said. So they sent me up to the land agency in Mandeville. To my surprise, it's my batchmate who would have been the one to attend to me. I was kind of, you know, shocked to see, knowing that we were involved in agriculture. He went off on the educational journey. But here is Mr. Mitchell, you know, about to sit me down and talk to me about land. But guys, I just want to say this. In that little session, I learned so much about land. And I know you guys will definitely have a lot to learn. And as he said, this cannot be done in one session. Because I know a lot of people, just because it's a family property, you may just say, okay, yes, everything is okay about the land. But what I found out that day, it was no ABC. to ownership of that property. As a matter of fact, I had to think twice. I hold breaks at that moment because I realized there's a lot more research to be done. So Wayne, I want, even though this conversation, guys, is just like a sit down chat with me and Wayne, but you guys gonna have a lot to learn. So viewers, what I like for you to do is make a comment, invite a friend, share the link, and whatever question you guys have, you can drop it in there. Because if you want to have the clarity on property, land acquisition, selling the land, buying a house, whatever, this is the place for you. So actually, Wayne, when I sit in, I learn so much. But the fact about Saint Elizabeth, you said something to me in that meeting. You said Saint Elizabeth have the most problem when it come on to land. I want you to tell the people what that means when you tell that Saint Elizabeth have the most problem when it comes
All
on
right.
to land.
All right. First of all, Ian, I want to start by saying that Saint Elizabeth is my favorite parish. Good. Yeah, definitely, because I spent 3 years down there at Elim Agricultural School, and I learned so much about that property. I can put this to anyone out there. Once you are a Jamaican, I can bet you that Saint Elizabeth have everything that all parishes have, and there are things that most parish don't have. There's nothing that any parish in Jamaica can tell you that they have that Saint Elizabeth don't as Saint Elizabeth is one of the most versatile parish. As you know, it is the bread basket, but not only the bread basket. They have hydro plant. They have them have hydro plant to produce electricity. They have windmill, them have tourism, them have fishing, them have diverse agricultural. Every section of St. Elizabeth have different crops. You have the south side, which is vine and vegetable. You have the north side, tree crops. You have the swamp area. There's a good rice. They have animal, they have cattle, they have dairy, they have goat, everything. St. Elizabeth has everything. So I don't want you to put St. Elizabeth down. but
That's my part.
but on top of that, St. Elizabeth has the most unregistered property in Jamaica, meaning that the most properties without title, without a registered title. Most of the properties, they are not registered, they are unregistered. I'm going to put it simple. They do not have a registered titles. And that is why, Ian, the government come up with the LAMP program. First, it was a LAMP, Land Administration Management Program. Now it is LAMD, LAMD, Land Administration Management Division. Good, because it is now a division of the National Land Agency. Government take it over fully and become a part of the land agency. So the land agency even become wider now to cover everything with properties in Jamaica. Everything have to go to the land agency. Good. And that's not all. There's also another private public entity named GeoLand that assists people to get their property registered also. So it's two entity now. So GeoLand work closely with LAMP, because LAMP is like the government entity that deal with the title aspect, and GeoLand deal like legal aspect out in the field, and they work through LAMP to get a title. So GeoLand as a office, a junction, they make sure they have one in St. Elizabeth. Good. So this is it now. Yeah, you're not the only one that have some issues. A lot of people, because St. Elizabeth is so productive. I have a lot of, if you even go overseas, there are a lot of St. Elizabeth people up there. They're very, very productive, and they are in the a good field. They have good high school in St. Elizabeth. So the children them from the farmers, they go to good school. They are successful abroad. Good. So everyone in St. Elizabeth like to do stuff with land. So you have the people them in St. Elizabeth now, they try to transfer the land they are unregistered. So a lot of people buy properties in St. Elizabeth and they cannot get a registered titles because of the history of the property, because there are no title. But a lot of people just own properties, some are family land, they own them, they don't do nothing with them, they try to pass it on to others, and that's where they find some difficulty right there when they try to pass it on, whether by transfer or by way of gift or a sale. That's where the issue comes in with St. Elizabeth. But the government is on a trust right now to get the land registered, and they are doing well. Good.
Okay, thank you for that information, Mr. Mitchell. So, Mr. Mitchell, I would just ask you this question quickly. What are some of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to acquire these land or property in Jamaica, and how they can avoid losing their money or getting scammed? Because what you just explained to me a while ago, people can easily lose their money or get scammed either way.
Yes, lots of that go on in Jamaica, especially where you have a lot of unregistered land. Because people selling. Remember that land, the first thing you must think of about properties, right? Properties, there are certain laws, there's certain land laws that govern properties. Good. So you cannot sell a property as if you're selling some clothes or any, I mean, what would you call personal properties, like your cars, like your furnitures. Property cannot sell that way, yeah. So you have to understand that it is part of the country. You cannot sell it part of the country by just selling it and just get the money, give a receipt. It don't work like that. Well, is you're selling part of Jamaica. Every part of Jamaica have to fit into the grid. Good. Every part of Jamaica is come under the state. So don't expect someone to just sell your land, you give money, get a receipt. Right? That's the first thing. That's the first mistake. Good. Another thing, because it is illegal, because everything fall under the Registered Titles Act, whenever time you're buying properties, you have to do a title search. Right? And you have to find out if there's a registered titles. If well, if they are, and you can do that easily by going to the National Land Agency, and you pay $500 and get a copy of the title. $500 can give you a copy, not the real title, but the copy of the title is scanned and it is on the government website. You can pull it yourself. You could subscribe to the e-land, which is a section of the National Land Agency website. You could subscribe to that and you could pay $500 also and pull the title yourself. So somebody saying
All
that they're
right.
selling land. Good, sorry. Go on.
Just to stick a pin right here, Mr. Mitchell. So what you're telling me is that a property is a public information. Because if I could just go there and pay and get information on that piece of land that I wanted to buy, so just the people can understand. 'Cause
Yes.
I don't think everybody understand much about land. Because I'm telling you, I'm out there and people see what I'm doing. I just basically expose what is out there. But
Yes.
there's so many people that don't even have a clue that this can be done. So thank you very much.
Yes, Ian. Property. There's nothing secretive about property. Remember that it is part of Jamaica. No? Yeah, every land fall under the state. As we already said at the National Land Agency, the government own all the lands. You are just the holder of it. The government really own it. You understand? But you are the what you call freehold. You are the right? You own the property, but ultimately it's the government is the owner, right? So you can go to the National Land Agency, you can look on the title for anyone in Jamaica. Even the Prime Minister's property can go and look at it. It is public documents. You could go and
Wow.
look at it. You cannot do anything with it because it's just a copy. Good. And maybe it is like that elsewhere in the world. You can look on the title, or you could do your title search. You could see who own it. You could see if the person who claim that they're the owner. You could check it out to see if they are the owner for real. You could check the size of the land, and you could check all the information that you want to know. Most of it is on that title.
Great, great. So that's a big, big piece of the puzzle right there, from all the questions that I've gotten before. So I'm just gonna rush into another question. So when somebody now identifies that piece of land or the property, they fall in love with it. What would you say the exact step-by-step process should be for them to follow from negotiation to the title?
From negotiation to title. Well,
Yeah,
as
step
I
to
said,
step, just quick guideline.
yeah. I try to be quick as possible. Um, you have to. try to ascertain if property have a title. If the property have a title, Ian, and the property, when you check it out, you can do what you want to do because not every land can do for everything. Some are restricted to commercials, to residential. So you do your title search to find out if it can be used for your purpose. If it has a title, it's very simple. The best thing to do is to get your lawyer and you arrange with the person to do your sales agreement. And from sales agreement, you go to this transfer, and then it can transfer to you easily. Once it have a title, it's an easy transaction. If there's no title now, that's where some difficulty comes in. A property, remember that a title, the ultimate ownership document is your title. But some
Mm-hmm.
properties, while they are unregistered, remember the history of Jamaica. It's a
Saint,
very
all right, I'm going to stick to Saint Elizabeth, guys,
because
because
you have unregistered property, there are certain things that have to do first before you can gain title. The best thing to do is to let, because they are jail land now, you could go to jail land and they could advise you how to get that property registered. Good. So personally, I would say if you love the property and there is no title and you really want it, right? You and the owner are the person who have rights to the property. They might not be the legal owner as yet, but the land is unregistered. So once it is unregistered, there are steps to take to bring it under the Registration of Title Act. We could do that another time because there's a lot of things to explain there. But as I said, you can now get the assistance of a lawyer or GLN to assist them to get the property registered. First, you have to do your survey. Good. You have the a thing, a document that they call the first registration. Good. You could use that document if you know the know-how, or if you can use a lawyer or GLN, you could let them do what they call a first registration. Once you have do your survey diagram, you complete the form, the first registration form. You could give about 40 years history, the ownership over the 40 years. All that is on the form, good, and your lawyer would guide you through that. So but I'm saying that now you get the property registered, and once it is registered, then you could get that property transferred to you. But you have to have this agreement, you and the owner now, to work out all those things that involve to get the land registered. And then maybe you could start a payment plan with them, and when the land is registered, it can transfer to you properly.
all right, Wayne. Good explanation right there. And you were mentioning something, and I know a lot of people have this question. So I hear where you mentioned, like, if they have legal or kind of, it's not that little title in their name, but legally it was like a father to a daughter. It is not registered, but them have them loan like a piece of paper or something, which that is what is happening in my community. Most of the people, them,
Okay, good.
that daughter, that son don't have a real title for themselves. Daddy say a few, and daddy may give you a little piece of diagram, or you have a survey paper or sales paper. So
Okay.
basically, you're saying that land still can be sold, but there's
It
process.
can be, it can be, you see, I don't like to use just selling in terms of property. I like to use transfer. As I said, the property have to transfer from one person to another. Good. Yes, back to sentiment again. The land is unregistered, but most of those properties are still family land. Good. So with those lands, you're always gonna have somebody on the tax roll. Maybe your grandfather, maybe your great grandfather, they are on the tax roll. Good. Remember that the tax roll is not a title. Tax roll is not ownership. It's really to show that you're in possession of the land. We all have to pay tax, so government put person in possession, right, for tax purposes. So that's what the tax roll is about, possession. So once someone is on the tax roll, maybe brother, maybe your father, grandfather, then no, it's like you have certain family rights to the property, live on it for a particular amount of years. So good. So that is why I know you have the act to assist you now to get those property regularized. So that's how geo land and land come into play now. So good. Their land is mandated to get the land registered. So certain act certain acts, even some act developed for them specifically to deal with those situations, unregistered property. So yes, you could you could survey it just the same, and you could do all the steps to bring it under the Registration Titles Act. Good. Once you could prove certain amount of years of ownership and other things that is required, then yes, you could get it land registered.
All right, people. So I just want you to know, Mr. Mitchell is now really big on property in terms of sale, investment, and so forth. But before we get to that area, we really wanted to deal with the land first. Because most people acquire land or you have buy a house and the house is on a piece of land. And I realize that land can be a sticky situation if you don't get it right in the beginning. Wayne, before we start going into the real estate and the meat of the matter that you are now a specialist in, I just want you to just, what are some of the documents or red flags that every Jamaican, whether local or overseas, should check before making any payment to anybody? I know you have gone over some of them, but it's just to reinforce it before we move to the other side. Could you just reinforce some of those red flags before you pay up money out of your pocket? Because once you give that money, probably chances are you may never get it back.
All right. Based on my experience in the business, talking about red flags. Whenever time you're buying property, good. If the person is rushing you, you just start moving slow. Good. Don't let anyone rushing you by saying that you have to buy it now because there are some other persons waiting, and you can feel the sense of rushing. Slow down. If you're buying properties and somebody say move fast, you do the opposite, move slow. Good. That's a red
Big
flag.
advice. Great
Yes.
advice.
Yes. Key. That's key. Good. Red flag again. They cannot present the title. Good. They're telling you about some other documents. When you're buying property, you have to do is you notice I'm stressing the title because this is what causes most problem. A lot of people pay for property and they cannot get ownership. That's why I always advise. I'm not a lawyer, Ian, but I always advise do a title search and find out how you can get the title. Good. You have to do your title search. They cannot show you any other document. The ultimate ownership is the registered title. So once they cannot show you, present a title to you, they don't have to show you the exact title, They just have to give you the title reference, the volume and the folio. Once they give that volume and the folio, you see every property in Jamaica, once it is registered, it have this unique reference number, the volume and the folio. It's really the books in the title's office. The volume is the number of book, and the folio is the leaf. Good. Every title is in that book. Good. So yeah, you ask for that. When you get that, you could just call it National Land Agency, and you could send someone there, and you could get a copy of that title by using the title reference. Good. So they have to show you that. Red flag again, Ian, is that make sure your lawyer involved. Good, because if you don't know about the properties, I've seen people use a document called conveyance to transfer a registered title. Not really transfer, but they claim that they transfer it. A conveyance can only use for unregistered title, right? And not sorry, not conveyance, an indenture. Sorry, an indenture can only use a chance to change possession from one person to another with unregistered land, and that is important for the to change the tax roll along with the other documents from the land agency. You cannot use to sell a registered title. So it has to be a transfer, instrument of transfer. Good? So proper documents, if they cannot show proper documents, red flag. If they're rushing you, red flag.
Okay, great. Guys, if you realize there's some terms here that been used that we will definitely have to come back another time. So what we're gonna be doing, with Mr. Mitchell, Wayne Mitchell, is that we're gonna be having a series that we're going through whole property, land, the whole thing. We're gonna dive deeper into it. So after today, just know this is not the first; it's just the beginning of a lot more to come. So we're gonna just make a little diversion, really into the meat of the matter, Mr. Wayne. Which you are a real estate agent now. You went through your resume, and that's a big portfolio, a big one. You know, big shoes to fill when you look at the work that you have done across Jamaica. And whatever you have done, you have maintained that integrity right across. And that's the reason why when I tell people who talk to me and they talk to me about land, I say, guess what? I have one person, not two, one person I will send you to. And when I send you to that one person, you're going to get all of your questions answered. So, guys, you will see why I can say that. The man work in land. As a matter of fact, the man is a farmer. So he tilled the soil. He's from Portland. That's one of the hardest in the terms of workers coming from Portland, hard working people. When you can't outwork a Portlander, they are built for this. So when I talk about land, he knows land from just being an agriculturist. He's a teacher, by profession. And the fact that he is also a son of the soil, a real Jamaican youth, with overseas experience also, and to know that he is a part of land agency for over 13 years, that again is something that not many people can say, guess what? I have 10 years experience in a particular field. 13 years and counting, working with some of the big backside companies. Meaning he'll be rubbing shoulder with lawyers. So, it's not that, as he said, he's not a lawyer. But when I tell you, when he gives an advice, it's as solid as you getting it from the lawyer. He may not be able to sign that signature. It's just like I am giving you some things regarding your health. I am not a doctor. I can't sign that prescription, but I could almost tell you what the doctor is going to prescribe for you. This is what and the kind of relationship I have with Wayne Mitchell. When I refer Wayne to somebody, I can go to my bed and sleep comfortable because I know, guess what? Whatever the situation, whatever the problem, it's going to be taken care of. So, Wayne, with that said, in Jamaica, and I'm talking Jamaica, real estate market, what are some of the biggest challenges buyers face when trying to close a deal? Because I know, yes, no, we get the land and everything, but there's challenges in closing the deal. And how do you, as a top realtor, is able to help them overcome these obstacles?
All right. Let me just thank you for entering into the real estate field because yes, they might call me the land specialist in the business because of my history. But, but real estate we deal with everything. Good. And my portfolio, we have lots of properties. We have hotels, we have commercial properties. Good. We have properties. We have some nice properties in even in Portland with some nice streams and rivers and falls and stuff like that. So yes, my portfolio is big when it comes to real estate. It was just last year. I am the Realtor Association of Jamaica. I got this prize to be the most productive real estate agent on the south coast of Jamaica. Good, like Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Clarendon, parts like those, and the south coast, Westmoreland. Good. So I got a proud,
Congr-
really proud.
Congratulations, brother, and knowing that you're working with the most difficult side of the island. Congratulations, well done.
Yeah. So closing, just say so now closing a deal. Just just repeat the question again so we can think about it.
So, in that real estate market, what are the biggest challenges buyers face in trying to close the deal?
Well, That's very wide. You mean they already start the process, and it's not closed
Well,
yet?
well, walk us. You guess what? Walk us through the process
All right,
then, in terms of.
let me just give you my because I like to be real enough. That's why I really was quick to come on your show because I like to keep it real and I like to
There
be
you
honest.
go.
I like to speak as a Jamaican. I don't like to pretty up things. Understand? You know, I love my accent. I love my country, so I don't like to stay away from that. Good. To me, you see, Ian, let me tell you. Um, Overseas, are you buying properties? And even in Jamaica, the best thing, one of the things that really delay a sales, because in a sales inland is very simple, you know. Once you have that title, it's a few things happen there. Once title is there, you do your sales agreement, you do all the documents, the transfer documents, and the lawyer bring it to the stamp office first. Once you go to the stamp office, it's just for assessment purposes, for them to assess the true value so that the government can collect their fees, right? Which is 2% of the market value, right? That's what done at the stamp office to assess. I mean, stamp it, you pay the government fees, and from the stamp office, the documents go to the title's office for that information, that transfer information to be registered on the title, the new name, new person to be registered on the title. And then the deal done. It is as simple as that. Once they get a title, it shouldn't be much. All that I'm telling you, if you're using cash, that it can be completed in a month. And if you have a valuation report for that property, it can be done in 2 weeks. Because one thing with the register with the register of titles, things a transfer don't last more than a week unless there's something wrong with the documents. And you can also pay for expedition and it happened the following day. You could transfer the following day. So
Oh,
yeah, so my experience is that people tend to use lawyers, right? That sometimes they have a lot of work doing and sometimes the transfer of land kind of sometimes delay because they have a lot of other things to do, right? So I always advise person when you're doing a land matters, do shop around for a lawyer. Good. Listen to others, get advice. Because the best is to use a lawyer that do a lot of work in conveyance. Not a lawyer that is in the court every day, right? And they're not paying attention to a simple land matters. You know, their lawyers have to go where the bigger money sometimes. And I'm going to be fair. So if they're in the court every day, a lot of criminal matters, sometimes the land matters delay. Good. So I have 4 lawyers here that I give everything. And they give me clients also. They and my lawyers, them some of them have history with the Backside company, some of them I know during my years in the business. So I direct people to us and they deal with conveyance, they concentrate on land matters. They are very effective. Good. Such 3 things about lawyer. They must be accessible. When you call them, you're not gonna get them all the time, but they must be ready and willing to call you back. So they must be accessible. The other thing, the lawyer must be reasonable. You know, cost is always important, right? They must be willing to negotiate. It's always start from 3% of market value for the service charge with a lawyer. Some lawyers can negotiate too, and you know, it all depends. So they must be able to negotiate sometimes. Sometimes depends on the matter, because different property carry have different matter. Good, and they must be able to complete the work on time. Important. So it's not the big lawyer, big criminal lawyer in Kingston you see on TV. Sometimes, you know, sometimes the little lawyer that do a conveyance and verse in the work at best, you know, and your work done quickly. So again, prevent it from close. Um, Maybe the lawyer is asking for some stuff too, and you're not bring them forward because you know that the banks, sometimes the banks involved, and the bank have a lot of requirements that they need also, and you're not coming forward with everything. You're not doing your service ID report in time. You're not doing your valuation report in time. You're not producing certain documents that the lawyers and want, you know. So sometimes that prevent closing. But in general sense, property that have titles shouldn't be any delay unless there is some other issues, as I said, bank, and there's some other legal issues involved. There might be some other legal issue too. Because sometimes the land don't have proper, ownership documents also, and they like, have to do some other things to get it recognized, But yes, that's my answer to that. Yeah.
All right, so you'd have basically answered the other part of the question that I was asking, that how do you as a top realtor help them to overcome the obstacles? But from what you have just said, you're just showing us that based on your network, the people that you work with, as you say, you have 3 lawyers that you refer every case to. So simply
Yeah.
mean there wouldn't be those
It's
hiccups,
not, it's not only that, Ian, that I assist with that. Remember that I'm also, you mentioned about signing, and I can't sign, but I can tell you that I'm a justice of the peace. So I can sign.
Okay, okay,
Yes. And
okay, brother.
yeah, and sometimes I assist with doing the transfer too, because every documents that the lawyer used to send to the title office, it is on the National Land Agency website. The instrument of transfer, which is the main one, that is on the website. You have another documents where you could use if you're a lay person, you're not a lawyer. The government through the National Land Agency have that specialized documents that you could use to give me the authority to do the transfer for you also. So I do that sometimes. Lot of time transfer property for my people. Once they trust me and we can have a relationship there, open relationship, then I sometimes transfer property for them. Other thing to Ian is that, as I mentioned, most people use a mortgage to purchase property. Most people, that's where the delay occurs sometimes, because the bank gonna need you to. The bank not gonna give you a loan, Ian, if you cannot come up with the value of the property, the market value. So you as a buyer have to get a valuer. We are in the business so long, we know the good valuer. Because we give the valuer them so much work. As a real estate agent, we can call on somebody and say, go down to St. Elizabeth and value this land for me. And you can get it back in 3 days' time. A week, depends on the amount of work that you have to do, because sometimes you have to do a lot of comparison to come up with the correct value. So we could give you the best and most reasonable valuer in the business also, a valuer that is on all the banks panel. And the banks them have the panel of valuer that they're gonna want you to use. We know them, and understand, so we can direct you. The survey, that's another thing. We give surveyor so much work till we can just call a surveyor out of and say, go and survey, do a survey ID, which is that identification report, right? The bank gonna need that. The bank not gonna sell any property that there's a breach. All the covenants and the title, the owner would have to be adhering to all those covenants. So the bank gonna need you to do a surveyor's ID report to go there, for a surveyor to go there and check the boundaries, check all the covenants and the title, see if they are being adhered to. Good. So all those things take up time, but you have to do those things on a timely basis for the period of the sales to be shortened. Good. So we assist with that also to give people good surveyor and commission surveyor to do all those work. So those are the
All
things that
right.
they do.
Man, you're giving these viewers so much meat this morning, brother. I'm telling you, because there was so much lack of knowledge in this era in terms of land acquisition, selling land, just investing and so forth. That I'm telling you, you are definitely opening up, the mind of people just having a little bit more knowledge, in terms of when it comes onto land. Because I think this is something that affects every family, even just within the family, just passing it on, not even selling it, but passing it on from
remember, when I
generation to
start, remember when I was talking about land, we're talking, I'm putting on my real estate,
property. Yeah,
the property agent.
yeah, the property.
Yeah.
All right, now, so and thank you for the clarity right there. All right, now, so next question for you as a realtor. Say, for example, I want to sell my property, whether it be my house or the land, and I want to get the best price for my property. What are some of the things that I need to do, I need to fix, or I need to understand before listing it with you, if me want to get the best price? Everybody knows that the money talk.
But yeah, you want me to let out all my secrets right now, right?
No man, let me contact you, but just what me
All
I
right,
gonna do, cause I,
all right. Yeah, let me give it. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, Ian. All right. Let me tell you a few things, Ian. You want to get the best price for your property, Ian. All right. You see, in Jamaica, Ian, a lot of people that are I have this challenge with owners, right? People just wake up and just come up with a price for their land or for their house or for the property. Just come up with a figure and say, sell this for me. Good. Sometimes that can cause problem because every owner think their property and their house and building is the best enough. So they come up with these high prices. So you have to have the skill now to explain to them about market value. And putting a high price on a property can cause the property to be out there on the market for years and cannot sell. So the best thing to do is to get the market value. Good. All right. For you to get the best market value, yeah, especially for a house, you have to all all the areas in the house that can be a sore point. You know that when they bring in a female to show a house, yeah, the first place the female would rush to is the kitchen. I can tell you that. I don't know, female love their kitchen to be large.
kitchen and bathroom.
Trust me, the first place they're gonna go a kitchen. I don't know why. I'm telling you, kitchen. So you have to ensure that different areas of the house, are very tidy and very, the best connection it can be. Good. I have, all right. It was just last month, right, Ian? There's a property I was selling. When I went to the property is like, I mean, no paint. The outside there is no paint, right? The yard messy, right? Not tidy, and so I asked, I just asked one of my valuer how much in think because I do that sometimes. Just give me approximate how much in think property would value, and he told me. What I do, Ian, I tell the owner to buy one tin of paint, and he paint the front of the house, right? And I gave him someone to cut the yard nicely, right? And do some little painting, touch up and so on, and the fence. And Ian, you bill me that $1.5 million go on that house.
Wow.
1.5 million went on immediately by just painting. Good. So you have to present. You cannot be selling a house and you're taking your pictures and it's untidy. Remember, when you're selling a house and it's going to the entire world. Good. You have to you have to take nice pictures. You have to do your video. You have to do your drone shots. So all those things very important when you're selling property as a real estate agent. And I said to get the best value is the it's just the market value, the era that you're in, right? And all your physical, physicality of the property itself. Those you can get the best price by just improving those. Remember that you can also do everything and the house is just at a bad location. Properties and price come down to location. You understand? So if the area is not a high price area also to fetch good price, no matter what you do, you're not gonna get the same price. You could get a little bit over, but location is very important. Yeah.
All right. Before I give you the platform for yourself to really just broaden the knowledge in terms of what you do, how people can get to you in terms if they need a service or so forth. You know, I just want you to just kind of go over some of the documents that a seller would need to have to present to you before they even come to you, say for a consultation. You know, in terms of what is it that you would need from that seller before they come into your office then, before they
All right.
list that out.
Okay. All right. Let me see if we start from let me just go back to plan first. I don't know if you want me to give out my phone number. Are you gonna? have a space for that in your on your platform, but you could let me know. Um, yes, in respect to if a land is unregistered, first for me, I prefer you to get the land registered first. Or I can assist you with that. I have lawyers that specialize in that. If something that I can do, I will also assist you. Good. I also sometimes, because I'm close to jail land also, right? I also sometimes I work as an agent for them to gather stuff for people like the survey diagram, the history of ownership, and the valuation role. I say valuation role because people work at the land agency is really the valuation role become the tax role. So your tax number, I could assist you how to get your tax number, even if you don't have that tax number, once you can send me a pin of a location, a Google location pin, I could find that tax number for you. I could find it. Good. So once we identify the tax number and I could assist you to get the surveying, assist you to get it through GLAN, or if you want to use a lawyer. Let's say GLAN use a different system for their costing. They cost you based on the unregistered value that is on the tax roll. A lawyer gonna charge you based on the market value. So it depends on what you want, which route you want to take. I could assist you with that. I could be your agent to carry your land through with your land and through lawyers also. We could build that relationship, trust. Once you trust me and me trust you, I could assist you to get the land registered also. Good. So now it's because I love to deal with registered title. Good, because that's the real ownership document. Good. So in respect to the sales now, your owner, they want to sell. Once you give me a call, I'll come and I will advise you on our process in real estate, give you all the necessary documents, the listing contract, what we call other documents like the customer information form. We get your ID, get your TRN and so forth. Even if you don't have a TRN, we could assist you in that also. Just to just for you to know that, right? Good. So I will tell you how to check your title, because even your own title sometimes you have to check, because the titles office have the original title. Good. What you have is really a duplicate of the original. So you can also check your title, see if anything changed on it and you don't know. So as I will assist you with that also. Once you have a title, then I will list it for you. Come and take my pictures, what the property advise you, and how to get it up to standard for you to sell it quickly, and I would sell the property for you. If it's a land, I have to come and check. I don't list a property in unless I check. Even if it's a land, I have to walk that property, because any person selling, I love to walk the property every length so I could sell it properly. Good. So I have to come and take my drone shots. I don't just put a camera, my phone, and just take a picture. Right? I have to do my drone shots. I love good pictures, because to me, when I list a property, it is going worldwide. Everyone have to see that property and love it. So I have to take proper pictures. Good. So all that involved in selling a property. The documents, the listing contract, the CI form, get your ID, TRN, take my pictures, and then I list it. Good. Social media involved. I mean, the RAJ exposure involved, realtor.com involved. A lot of people overseas use that. Social media, Instagram, the TikTok, all those things involved in selling.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, I think you have given the people more than they bargained for on this Sunday morning here. It's more than a Sunday morning service, you know.
Before I go, Ian, before you go,
No,
I want to mention something that is very important. I
you have the
wish that,
platform, brother.
yeah, man, I wish I could stand up now and show you this property that I am at right now. This is
You,
my.
you could you could go outside with the camera, you know, and
I'm
turn
not
it.
on the phone. I'm on my laptop.
Oh, so guess what?
Yeah.
Just know that we can post it And all right, guys. So I'm gonna tell you something, guys. What you don't know, Together We Rise Building Our Nation. It's a platform, it's a community, it's a business entity. Simple mean we have a physical location in South St. Elizabeth. Just as you're heading into Junction, you're gonna go Cheapside and straight up the road. And whatever Wayne Mitchell does will be a part of the Together We Rise Building Our Nation. Whatever services he offer, it will be a part of the Together We Rise Building Our Nation. Simple mean, once you network with Ian, you're gonna have Wayne Mitchell as that person for you. Whether you're sales consultant, you wanna list the place, you wanna have the, as he said, he's gonna come on the land, walk the land. So if I just go there first and just say, hey, this is a piece of land, Wayne Mitchell will be on there. He'll map it for you. As he said, if you just send him a Google mapping of it, he can tell you what everything about it. So it'll be a part of it. So what happened also on my platform, I will be listing some of his stuff here. Just to open the platform to you. So whatever he's doing right now, we'll list it here on the Together We Rise show. It will be on my page, as he said, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. All of these play a very important role in terms of marketing. But right before you guys, you have one of the top realtor in Jamaica, as he said, one of the most hardworking. He was recognized by it in Jamaica, so he owns it. He holds a title. He holds a plaque to say, guess what? I am who I say I am, and I can validate it for you. So you get to have him. So just so you know, when once you finish, you could shoot me those videos. We could put it up for you and all
Yes.
those stuff.
Thank you for that, Ian, because I was just searching my phone for two videos because this property that I am on right now is what I do. It's my personal property. I invested in this property because of really what I want to do. Certain things I want to assist people with. I want to allow to, especially people overseas, when they come to Jamaica, I could play a part in their enjoying the country. So what I do, I have this property in Ingleside, Mandeville, one of the most of um, property location in Mandeville. So I have this big property here, an 8 bedroom that I'm doing short-term rental. I don't like to say Airbnb because Airbnb is just a platform. I do short-term rental. Put it on the Airbnb platform also, and I do my own bookings also. So I have 8 rooms with 2 kitchen, one at the top, one at the bottom. I have swimming pool. Um, I can provide service like if you want transportation service, if you want touring service, I could provide that for you. Good. So I'm gonna send you some videos, Ian, for you to share with your audience because I really want to give this some exposure. Good, not just exposure. I have great vision. If there are anyone out there that want to partner with me, if they have something to do with tourism or something to do with visiting Jamaica, some organization, I could partner with them. They could provide me with people. We could develop some contractual agreement together and we bring down people into Jamaica, let them enjoy their stay here. Good. Um,
You
yes,
know what? You know what, Wayne? I just want to emphasize on this and validate what Wayne is saying. Guys, I have been to this property more than once. I fell in love with the property even before Wayne had done the upscale to it. The other day I went up there. You guys probably have seen me with a gentleman that was doing a driveway. Well, this is Wayne driveway. I went over to the pool. You don't want to see the and what it. You just go and sit out there. You don't even have to get in the pool to feel that ambience.
yeah, yeah,
You don't have, yeah, man. It is a beautiful place, guys. I toured the bedrooms. You're gonna have that welcome to Jamaica feeling
yeah. Yes,
by
Ian,
just going up there.
Ian, this is what I want to. I would prefer, Ian. I like to deal with groups. People are coming in groups. Whatever reason for the group. If you're doing a reunion, right? If you're coming down for a wedding, you're coming down for a funeral, I can also, as I said, 8 rooms, 2 kitchen. If you want the bottom section with a kitchen, you could get it. The top with a kitchen, you could get it. Good. I prefer to do groups. Good, because the property designed for that. That's why I said somebody overseas want to do a partnership, just give me a call. And I don't know if you're gonna put my information out there, but please do it, and I expect
You,
you
you,
to.
you, you, you can give them right as it is, but as I said, you're part of the Together We Rise Building Our Nation. Once you know me, you know Wayne. So, but you could give it out to the public, if somebody just want to connect with you, and just know that he's a man of integrity, and that's what I said. He's a man
Oh,
that is known for giving results. He's a man who knows real estate in
amen.
terms of working the system, knowing the
Amen.
system.
Integrity is key, Ian. That is what in real estate and even as a developer, we are under the we are regulated by the Real Estate Board of Jamaica. So this is one thing that I could tell people overseas. If you're working with people in Jamaica, you could just, especially in the real estate business, you could go on the real estate board website, which is reb.gov.jm. You could look up for a registered real estate agent, a registered, developer, because we are regulated just like the banks. We cannot hide, we cannot run away. Good. We are licensed real estate agent. A lot of people in every field, people just come up and just start doing things that, and then overseas people just because they're looking at the lower cost. That sometimes some people kind of are not a good character and they get tricks and so forth. But once they use a reputable, registered person, that's the key. People who have to answer to a board. Good. Once you do that, you don't know, we are people who can get your job done with experience and we are regulated, we are licensed. Good. My number is 876-427-5457. 876-427-5457. Wayne Mitchell, and I worked with the national, I'm sorry, I work with Allied Real Estate Company. Allied Real Estate Company. That is company that I work through as a real estate agent. Thank you.
And when you have the last minute or two to close out anything you need, otherwise for the audience to know anything that you think it's very important when it relates to real estate and land, homes, anything you have that minute to bring it forth to the platform.
Yeah, man. There's not much to say. As I said, just Google Wayne Mitchell real estate agent Jamaica. You could pick up. I have lots of listings. I have over 60 listing on the MLS. Plus I have others that I don't put on the MLS. And what I don't have for myself, I could assist you in getting it. Once you are a licensed real estate agent, I could get any property that is listed on the multiple listing system for you. We as realtors in Jamaica, we all work together. They sell my property and I sell theirs. If you have a realtor already, you could just use that realtor to call me. Once I put it on the MLS, it means that I am put it out there to do co-broking. So you can use your realtor and call me. If you want to deal with me directly, you can call me and I could assist you with any property in Jamaica. And as Ian already emphasized, I'm like a one-stop shop. They call me the land specialist in the business. So whatever you don't hear on this program, just give me a call. We can talk.
All right, Wayne, on behalf of the Together We Rise Building Our Nation network, the community, we just want to say thanks, to you for coming on this morning and render, your service by providing us with so much details when it comes on to the whole real estate in Jamaica. Your knowledge, really have a vast and great impact on people like me who are limited when it comes on to land. And I know I'm not the only one. I've done a lot of videos, and from the feedback and the insight that I've seen, I realized that land and real estate is one of the hottest topic out there that people definitely interested in. And if there's an interest, that means there's a need. And guys, I just want to say that, Wayne Mitchell, as I said, need no introduction. As I said, whoever I call friend, that is something I take very serious. When I say a man is a man of integrity, it simply mean like you're talking to me when you're talking to him. Simply mean he's trustworthy, he's hardworking, and he's a friend. Just want to say thanks again, Wayne, for being here this morning. You have yourself a blessed day, brother.
Thank you. Goodbye to your audience.